Hi, my name is Justin DeRoy.
My name is Jesus Paden Ramirez.
All right, and you are listening to Just Two Guys Talk Movies.
Talk movies.
I think the format I want to go with that we'll start off each. I'll go, and then Jesus will go of first our positives, what we liked about the film. Then we'll go to negatives, and then we'll give like what our overall rating was. Again, I'll start off. Let's see, likes. First of all, obviously, because this is a big special effects film. There's several special effects shots I really like, particularly the big special effects really have to come at the end because that's when you get to see the actual big fights between all the monsters. And I'm gonna let you know I'm not gonna really try to be careful with spoilers, so I'm gonna let you know there's probably gonna be a spoiler here and there. Just deal with it. If you don't like it, just don't listen anymore from here on out. But yeah, the last 20 minutes where they have the big fights, some of the coolest special effects shots in there, like especially like when you actually get to see Godzilla uses the atomic blast. That was just for me. I was just like, oh, just so awesome for me. Um,
The atomic bomb.
the atomic blasts. I guess that's what majority of fans called it. You know, his fire breathing, whatever Godzilla does, is the atomic blast.
Oh.
But
Yes.
that was I thought was pretty awesome. And I'm gonna steal from you because you already mentioned this, but also another really cool shot was them jumping down onto San Francisco. They did
skydiving,
the halo jump of what I guess they call it in the military. The shot of them, it was really cool. Just you said this too, eerie and stuff like that, and just the way it looks like from looking through their masks too. It's just it must be terrifying. Like just like only barely seeing just small outlines of like Godzilla and other creatures, and then falling down. Like it was me just thinking, you almost feel like you're in place of the the actor falling down onto that, and then you just thinking like, oh shit. Just you can't imagine like how scary that is. I'm trying to think of
that would be
another positive. I really liked the mythology they set for Godzilla in this. I thought was another one of my favorite parts. They give you like a really simplistic mythology of like these like creatures that have been around like probably hundreds of thousands of years before man even existed, and possibly they say that Godzilla is there to bring balance to like the destruction and mayhem caused by these other creatures, and possibly even a race of like Godzillas, I guess, that come before him that have done the same thing. They're kind of there as Earth's protectors when these other creatures are out and destroying, causing all this mayhem. So I thought it was the mythology they created for like Godzilla was really kind of cool. Trying to think of any other ones because honestly, there's probably more negatives for this film than are positives. Not that I hated it. I'm gonna give it a decent review, but yeah, I think I'm done. That's about it. I can think of like positives I can really mention.
Well, I mean, I normally don't do this. But I'm only doing this because you asked. But I normally don't really review films that I'm not crazy about. Because I don't really like to trash films publicly, at least. But I mean, no, I mean I think this movie wasn't bad. I mean, it was. This was my most anticipated film of the summer, for 2014. Because I'm a big sucker for Godzilla. But what was I gonna say to you? When it comes to the positives, there were a few, yes. I'm gonna stick more to, but I'm gonna stick more to the technical side though, because I think that the positives were greater there. Cinematography, especially like in that one part, where the monsters are fighting in San Francisco, and then like the skydiving down to a destroyed San Francisco. I have to admit, the way that part was shot, or the part at least when you start seeing the monsters, I feel like they did a very good job with the cinematography, and of course the special effects, the visuals. I think they were phenomenal. I didn't see it in IMAX, but it still looked pretty cool. In the regular theater. Sound was pretty awesome. Godzilla looked real. So that no, 1 second. So that for the positives, I think those were my favorite parts of the film.
All right.
The way it looked and the visuals, for the most part.
All right. I did think of one more that actually I remembered. I also liked how, unlike in really, I don't even think in the original ones they really did this. I think they had a little more range of locations, but well, especially the last one, they only took place in New York. But I liked how there's a range of locations where you saw the monsters,
yes.
Destruction going through. First, you go for Japan, and then it hits.
Yeah, I like that they brought it back to Japan.
Hawaii. And you see also, because there's another monster, it's going through Nevada, and then eventually it all culminates into coming into San Francisco. And I thought it was kind of a funny, kind of little wink at the audience that instead of monsters destroying Tokyo, they're destroying Little Tokyo in San Francisco. I thought that was kind of funny little nod, haha, we are still destroying Tokyo, just a little one. But yeah, that was one that. My one more I just remembered that was a positive, but negatives. I'm gonna start. The one that was the most negative about, and it kind of annoyed me because you see them do this sometimes in films, and I just hate it. I hate it when they do this. Bryan Cranston. They make you think in the trailer because 90% of the scenes that you see from the trailer, Bryan Cranston, Bryan Cranston, Bryan Cranston, he's dead within 20, 30 minutes of the film. And I'm like, what the is that?
Yeah, I did not look.
Totally
You're not the
mislead
first
you.
person that has mentioned that. I mean, I haven't seen Breaking Bad, but I mean, I still think he was. No offense. I mean, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I mean, the best part for me, if I don't care honestly if a movie has the best looking shots or the best special effects. If I don't feel anything for the performances, for the actors, or if the story really isn't, if it's not up to par, obviously with the visuals, then I kind of will dismiss it because I mean I just don't feel anything, and I feel like unfortunately, and a lot of people disagree with me. My brother disagrees with me. I didn't really feel any. I didn't get that much from the performances here, from the human performances. I did like Bryan Cranston's performance, but like you said, I feel like I felt like I honestly thought he was the main character, and I thought him and his son. But apparently it was just his son. Apparently he was just a supporting character. So I was surprised when they killed him off as well. I was kind of like, oh god, no. But as far as the rest of the performances, unfortunately, and I hate to say it, I didn't feel much. There was no connection there at all. I know I know that they tried at least. I know that they didn't feel fake like most of these blockbuster films that they just show up there for the money. But I didn't quite believe them that much, and that's what kind of ruined it for me because because of that I wasn't that into the film. I didn't quite get into it because I didn't really. Oh, and one of the thing that I didn't like at all was mostly like the reactions of people. People. The reactions of people like in Hawaii when the tsunami was happening, or when the monsters were destroying buildings. I feel like the reactions of like the crowd, like people in the streets, or just the regular actors. I feel like again they weren't as believable.
I feel like there's a lack of panic.
They didn't put me in that circumstance. Yeah, I saw that the whole world was being destroyed, but I didn't feel anything. Like I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel frightened for my life. And you needed to feel like that, But I think like the only way that you can achieve that is by your actors portraying that. You know, of course you can also do that with music, but if you don't see that in your actor's eyes, then it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you
But
agree with me or no?
besides the fact that I felt like they were way misleading on like how much, Bryan Cranston was actually being involved in this. I really just didn't care for the whole human element of the story, because this is titled Godzilla, but what I mostly saw was Aaron Taylor Johnson's fantastic journey back home. It focused way too much, I thought, on like the whole like story of his character trying to make it back home to his wife and child, rather than Godzilla, which you see the most of in just the last 20 minutes. You see one scene where he just appears, and then they cut out from his first fight, and it just goes to news coverage you just see on a television screen, which you don't even see like very good shots of like what's happening, because they're just trying to tease you, like, oh, there's a big fight. Oh wait, no, cut to just watching it on the news broadcast. And I thought that was stupid and cheesy. So yeah, I didn't really care for the whole human element of it, like the story of him trying to get back home. I would have liked them to focus more on Godzilla and more of like the monster fights. I didn't think that they could have had more of that.
Well, I feel like it was. I feel like they gave us a lot of the fighting between Godzilla and the other monsters. But for me, that a lot of people I hear a lot of people were complaining that Godzilla, there wasn't enough Godzilla in this film. Even though at the end they did make it seem like it was his film. But again, for me, it felt like he was a supporting character. And you know what? I mean, I don't really mind unless I don't mind that, but unless the presence of this guy, of Godzilla, was really really made, and I feel like it wasn't. I didn't quite even though I liked this Godzilla, it did feel like a very very short time. It felt like he did. It felt like I felt more. See, that's the thing. I felt more emotion from the monsters than the humans. Like, especially with, like, I felt more compassionate and more connected to the villain monsters. Especially when they were like, when you see them mating or see them caring too much about their babies, and then Godzilla obviously coming in as like the protector of everybody. I felt that, and I really liked it, to be honest with you. So I didn't quite. I mean, when it doesn't really bother me that he wasn't there as much, but I feel like the way they presented him, I don't know. I feel like it was rushed. And therefore it does leave you with the feeling of wanting more from him. I don't know. I also, like, internally, I didn't know what to make of the fact that they show. Of course, you have to. This movie is about Godzilla, defending the human race from evil monsters. So it makes sense that at first you see what is the threat, and then them presenting us with the thing that's going to help us, defeat it. But I felt like the whole momentum, the whole tension of that would lead up to seeing Godzilla for the first time was diminished when they first showed us like the evil monsters. When I first saw them, I was kind of expecting Godzilla, but then it turned out it wasn't Godzilla, and so I feel like by the time they showed us Godzilla, the whole anticipation was gone. Not gone, but not as it wasn't as much. It wasn't there as much as I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the film is not perfect. Is it a decent entertainment? I think so. It's better than a lot of the regular blockbuster films you see in the summer. And I give them props for trying with the visuals, and trying, and giving it a try with the most important thing in this movie, which is Godzilla. But I mean, in terms of how real he looked, but again, like I said, with no real emotion there, it just the film just becomes empty. It wasn't completely empty because, like I said, I still felt something from like the monsters themselves, and that's probably like my favorite part, honestly.
Yeah. One more thing I could say about like in my negatives was like I didn't entirely hate the design, but the monster design for the two other monsters, not Godzilla. I thought Godzilla was very well designed. Like the modernized him plus kept some of the classic elements of Godzilla, but the other two monsters I wasn't really all that thrilled about. I didn't feel like they were. They could have been more imaginative because I looked at them. It looked like a mix that they took the like monsters, the bug monsters from Starship Troopers, mixed with the Cloverfield monster, almost the way that looked. And I know I would have liked them try to come up with something crazier, more imaginative. Kind of like they went really kind of crazy with the monsters from the classic ones. And I was telling my brother even when I watched this, that's probably the most unfortunate thing with these new ones. We're probably not gonna ever see anything quite like what we saw in the classic films because I think they want to go, even though it's a fantasy sci-fi type film, they want more kind of realistic kind of creatures. That's why I think they went with kind of giant mutated bug-like creatures that we kind of, I know we could kind of imagine. Oh yeah, maybe like hundreds of thousands of years ago, we can actually imagine something like that was around, and that's why I don't think we're ever see the three-headed King Ghidorah or whatever they called it, or whatever, a Mecha Godzilla. Those probably won't ever pop up in these new films. But I want to see something, really creative, hopefully, because Warner Brothers did announce that they want to do a sequel already that's in the works. So I'm hoping like whatever monsters they come up, I don't want them to see them just rehash what they did with these monsters. Hopefully, at least they could have come up with something completely different. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I agree with you. I mean, but yeah. I like these monsters. And yeah, they did look similar. But I think they did a good job with these. I mean, I think.
I don't know, you're breaking up again.
I haven't really seen any of the classic, like the original films. So I'm not entirely sure exactly the kind of monster you're talking about. But I mean, I guess so. It'd be cool they do something similar to what they gave us at the beginning. But I didn't have a problem with these monsters. I kind of like them.
Okay. So yeah, we'll just wrap it up then, and we'll give our just overall like what our rating was for the film. Since I just talked, I'll go ahead and let you give what your overall rating was to the film.
I think it was my overall rating is see it if you want to have a if you're looking for popcorn entertainment and you're not really looking to have like a movie with great special effects, with great performances, and a great emotional connection. That really wasn't what I from it, but it was still entertaining enough for me to see in theaters. I say it's that kind of movie you definitely want to see in theaters, but unfortunately not something that's gonna stick with you for in the long run.
Okay.
What's your final word?
For me, my final overall rating is I like to use the star ratings on it. I would probably give it out of 5. I'd give it a 3. Like I said, it could have been better for me. Like I said, I get they wanted to build the suspense for Godzilla for the big fight, but I still felt like they should have worked more of him into the film, and that's why I felt like the rating's a little bit lower than I would have liked it to be. But I would still say though, definitely go see it. And typically, I won't recommend seeing a movie in theaters when I only give it a 3, but I am for this one. Just because I think it's worth it for all the cool visual effects and just the fight scene at the end, I think that's something that would really be
Yeah.
more beneficial to watch it on the big screen rather than waiting to watch it at home. So just for that, just to see
Oh
like the
yeah.
cool visual effects, it'd be way better if you get to see it, on the big screen. So for that reason, I will recommend still trying to see it in theaters. But yeah, I think that's it for
Yeah, I agree.
our review and the rest of just you guys talk movies for today. So go ahead and sign off, and thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye.